On February 28, 2026, the launch of Operation Epic Theory marked the climax of an escalatory ladder stretching back to October 2023. Within the opening hours of the campaign, precision strikes achieved a high-value decapitation of the Iranian leadership, resulting in the death of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. The initial strikes neutralized military targets and eliminated leadership, but the kinetic success masked a broader structural collapse across the region. To understand the true scope of this conflict, we must examine the acceleration of tactical intelligence, the collapse of Gulf neutrality, and the weaponization of economic choke points. Conventional military overmatch achieved its immediate goals on the battlefield, triggering a systemic breakdown across the entire geopolitical network. The opening strikes established a new baseline in modern statecraft by fully integrating human intelligence, or HUMINT, with technical surveillance, known as TechInt. Operatives on the ground confirmed the target's schedules, while digital surveillance denied cell tower signals to delay early warnings. This allowed for precise pattern-of-life analysis to locate the Iranian inner circle. The United States Air Force accelerated this process by integrating agentic AI into their kill chain. Agentic AI refers to artificial intelligence systems capable of autonomously synthesizing data and executing complex tasks, like selecting targets, with minimal human supervision. Removing human escalation guardrails from the feedback loop introduced severe vulnerabilities. Algorithmic acceleration compressed decision-making timelines so tightly that it generated an AI-driven fog of war. On March 2nd, allied Kuwaiti air defenses engaged United States F-15 fighter jets. Software coordination failures caused the systems to misidentify friendly aircraft. Recognizing this dependence on automated digital infrastructure, Iran executed targeted strikes against physical Amazon data centers located in Bahrain to blind the targeting networks. Artificial intelligence hyper-accelerated tactical execution, but tying the kill chain to physical servers created catastrophic blind spots in escalation control. Before the outbreak of hostilities in 2026, the Gulf Cooperation Council states maintained a posture of strategic neutrality. They pursued economic hedging to balance their security partnerships with the United States against diplomatic détente with Tehran. Saudi Arabia had specifically negotiated normalization agreements to insulate its domestic economic transformation projects from regional violence. Iranian military planners rejected this neutrality. Because these nations hosted American military infrastructure, Tehran treated the Gulf states as inherent parts of the operational battlespace. Within 48 hours of the initial United States and Israeli assault, Iranian forces launched retaliatory strikes against 27 military bases across 9 different countries. The United Arab Emirates absorbed an overwhelming barrage, tracking over 150 ballistic missiles and 500 autonomous drones. Intercepted debris and direct impacts inflicted heavy collateral damage on civilian infrastructure, forcing the temporary closure of Dubai International Airport. The diplomatic hedging model collapsed under the weight of these strikes. Gulf states are now forced to choose between rapidly building indigenous defense industries or fully integrating into the United States security umbrella. A conventionally outmatched military can still exert immense pressure by weaponizing geography to disrupt the global macroeconomic system. This map shows the global supply chain, highlighting the Strait of Hormuz. On March 2nd, Iran effectively closed this choke point to Western-aligned shipping, choking off 20% of all global seaborne oil. As the flow lines indicate, 84% of the crude oil passing through here is destined for Asian markets. This line graph illustrates the immediate market shock. The price of Brent crude spiked 40%, jumping from roughly $65 to over $126 a barrel in a matter of days. Simultaneous strikes targeted Qatar's Ras Laffan complex, the central hub for the country's liquefied natural gas exports. The resulting damage forced Qatar Energy to declare force majeure, severing a critical alternative to Russian gas and directly threatening European energy security. Tehran then applied selective diplomacy, deliberately permitting transit for vessels flagged to non-aligned nations like China and India, to fracture the international community's response. The ensuing corporate mobility crisis prompted governments to issue Level 4 Depart Now advisories across 16 Middle Eastern nations. By holding economic interdependence hostage, Iran inflicted systemic global pain. The disruption proved that local territorial conflicts now dictate the survival of global markets. Looking inside Iran's borders, we can assess internal regime stability using OSINT. OSINT, or Open Source Intelligence, relies on collecting and analyzing publicly available information, such as financial records, satellite imagery, and social media data. Financial tracking revealed massive capital flight, with an estimated $1.5 billion rapidly moved out of the country by regime insiders. On the ground, security forces suffered over 500 dead, indicating they faced a highly capable and violent domestic resistance. To justify lethal domestic crackdowns, the state apparatus deployed extreme rhetoric to international media, explicitly labeling the protesters as armed terrorists. Street-level footage validated the scale of the unrest, documenting the widespread destruction of key state symbols and confirming that security personnel were stretched thin. Local police units and paramilitary groups were exhausted. In response, the state deployed conventional military units from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps ground forces to handle domestic repression. Capital flight and high casualty rates exposed deep internal fault lines. Yet the deployment of conventional military units shows the state currently retains just enough brute force bandwidth to prevent immediate collapse. The proxy deterrence equilibrium dictating Middle Eastern security for 2 decades has been permanently dismantled. The conflict also violently terminated the JCPOA. The JCPOA, or Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, was the 2015 multilateral agreement specifically designed to restrict Iran's nuclear proliferation. Global energy choke points remain entirely vulnerable to geographic weaponization, and the integration of artificial intelligence into warfare has exposed deep fragilities in automated intelligence networks. In a hyper-connected, technologically fused world, striking a single node inevitably shocks the entire global network.